Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Welcome to our Facebook friends. Welcome to our live participants. This is Dr. Herbert Harris, and this is Success Mentorship Call number 104. Wow. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is, I'll call it a Super Saturday because it's Saturday and it's super that we're here. Our lesson today is what's stopping you from achieving your goals? What's stopping you from achieving your dreams? And a lot of what we cover today is from our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success. And if you don't have one, be sure to get one at www.12, that's the number 12, uls.com. This topic seems so appropriate today because so many of us are in a situation that we're not excited about our present condition, maybe, and that as a result of the external conditions, the virus, the pandemic, as a result of all of those things, we've had an opportunity, and it is an opportunity to be with ourselves, to stay with ourselves, and to think for ourselves about where we would like to go and what we would like to be and how we would like to conduct our lives. And folks, let me tell you something. This is a great opportunity because many times we're so busy. I had a friend used to say, I'm so busy fighting the alligators, I can't drain the swamp. And so we can be so busy dealing with the day-to-day stuff that we almost get complacent in our situation. Well, this virus situation has been a rattling of our cage in a sense, so that we get the opportunity to think about who we are, what we're about, and what we want to do. And so the question arises, especially now in this period of external uncertainty, is what's stopping you? What's stopping me from achieving my goals? What's stopping me from going for it? I have this opportunity now to prepare myself for the next level of my evolution, and what's keeping me from doing it? And one of the things we find is this. There are basically three things that keep you from going forward. Number one, lack of clearly defined goals. Number two, lack of a clearly defined written plan. And number three, lack of action. I'll say that again. Lack of goals, lack of plans, and lack of action. So when we look at those three things, then what do I have to do to overcome that so that I can go forward? Well, number one, let's look at our goals. When we say we have lack of clearly defined goals, so many of us at the beginning of the year wrote our goals. We made, some beautiful statements of the things we want to be, do, and have, where we want to go, what we want to do. And by this time, many people have just gotten off track. And so if your goals are something that permit you to get off track, that might be a clue that requires further investigation. So when we start thinking of how do I really clearly define my goals? What's the key to clearly defining my goals? Well, we have to figure out what's your passion? What's your joy? What is the thing that you really want to do, be, and have? We can be so involved in the existence that we don't see the potential. So how do we determine if our goal is really a goal that can motivate us, that can keep us moving forward? Well, number one, your goal has got to be something that you enjoy. Think about this. If you live a life pursuing a goal that you do not enjoy, is there a surprise that chances are you will not achieve it? And so it's important that Your goal must be something that you really enjoy doing. When you enjoy doing it, it creates a vibration inside, a vibration of joy that helps create that magnetism that will attract into your space that you're seeking. And so if we haven't had the manifestations in our lives that we want, the fact that it may not be our joy is a clue. Number 2, your goal has got to be something that you're good at. And when I say that, something that you're already good at. Many times at this point in our lives, we've been so busy surviving that we have not been thinking about what we have to do to thrive. To thrive, to live life abundantly, as the promise goes. We have to, one, enjoy the goal, and we have to be good at it. If you have a goal that you enjoy that you're not good at, that may be a clue that that goal should be a hobby and not a life work. And so as we begin to define our goals, think about what you enjoy and what you're good at. And as an assignment, folks, to take this opportunity that we are spending time with ourselves and make a list of the things you really enjoy doing. As many as you can think of. Make a list of the things that you're really good at. I remember my son Sean once asked, he said, Dad, he says, how do you figure out what you want in life? I said, well, determine what you like. He said, okay, determine what you like, determine what you love doing, and then figure out a way to get paid for it. He loved being a DJ, and lo and behold, the boy got him a job at the radio station, and he became the 12 midnight to 6 a.m., the midnight jock, the love jock. Called him Dr. Love. Right? But what was the message? He had joy in it, and he was good at it. The third thing is this. Now, this is key. The third key is got to be something you would do for free. I remember sharing that with some folks, and they were thinking, like, what do you mean it's got to be something I would do for free? Many times our young people, one of the things I find about some young people, and I don't want to paint with a broad brush, but some of our young people say, hey, if I'm not going to get paid for it, I'm not going to do it. Well, think about this. If the only thing that stimulates you to do something is the fact that you're getting paid for it, then that means that whatever that thing is that you're doing is only valuable enough to you that is as it is in somebody else's eye. So, example, if you're a singer, and you say, I'm not going to sing for free. Well, think about this. How do people know how good a singer you are? I remember Whitney Houston's mom. I was a good friend with Sissy Houston. And Whitney sang everything. All you had to do was drop Whitney was always ready to sing. Her mother was ready to sing. Her aunt, Dionne Warwick, was ready to sing. And so whatever this thing is that you love, that you're good at, you have to be willing to do it for free. And the reason is that when you do it for free, one, you get really good at it, but also, two, you're putting out a positive vibration out into the universe that then harmonizes. It's almost like when you do the things that you love and that you're good at for free, you're literally priming the pump. You see, the good that's waiting for us may be much bigger than we can even conceive at a particular point in time. And that's why we have to move in faith. When we believe in what we're doing, when we love it, when we're good at it, and when we're willing to do it for free, we're literally priming the universal pump to bring blessings to us that maybe we had not even conceived of. So this guidelines for establishing your goal is key because it can help you take your whole program to another level. It takes it from that practical level to a spiritual level. Number 4, your goal must be something that helps others. Now you have to say, well, why is that important? That is important because the universe operates in a yin-yang vibration. That, as it said, there are only two forces in operation in the universe, good and evil, and they are balanced in different proportions at different times. And so if you want to do something, have a goal that does not help other people, you create a disconnect. You're never able to get the power of the mastermind. You know, when two or more gathered on one accord, I am among them. The making power, the multiplying power, the uplifting power that gives you the ability to do great things. So if your goal does not help other people, then it's not going to work for you. You know, all of this works in the positive and the negative. Think about this. A person who is a thief, okay? So number one, he enjoys stealing, okay? Number two, he's really good at stealing. Number three, he will steal for free, okay? Number four, does his stealing help others? Okay, unless he's Robin Hood, okay? And so when we look at this criteria, does it help others? That helps you discriminate and eliminate things that may not be really good for you on a larger scale. It can help get you out of the ego drive, the things you do just because it pleases you, into the things that you do to please the world. And finally, the fifth key to your goal is that it should be something that you are willing to do for the rest of your life. So my assignment, my instructions to you are to make a list of the things you really enjoy doing. Make a list of the things that you're really good at. Make a list of the things that you would do for free. Make a list of the things that will help the world, help other people. Make a list of the things that you would like for your life to have stood for, that you would devote your life to. When we follow these 5 principles, folks, this will help you create a goal that has the proper vibration that can now elevate you in your vibration life to the point that you attract into your life things beyond your wildest imagination. Because as you follow these principles on a goal, you begin to vibrate and radiate in accord with that passion, and then that makes you magnetic, and that's what pulls into your space. The law of attraction functions based on this foundation. So when we think about that, then if that's the key to what's stopping us, if we use this time to figure those 5 things out, then we will have made a breakthrough. That second idea that we don't go for it, we don't succeed because of lack of plans. You know, it says, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So the idea of lack of planning is something that keeps you from accomplishing your goals, that keeps stopping you from going for it. That can be solved by simply taking the time to write them down. See, when you determine your goals based on those 5 principles I gave you, the plan will become obvious. As you think through that, the plan will manifest based on the consciousness that you create to develop the goals that are congruent with your purpose, really. So then, what's really stopping us? And it's the lack of action. Sometimes it can be procrastination. Procrastination is the thief of dreams. Procrastination will stop you in your tracks. Procrastination will have you walking backwards. But there are 4 basic things that keep us from taking action. 4 basic fears. And fear is false evidence appearing real. I love that definition because all of the things we're going to share to keep you from taking action are really things that are instances of false evidence appearing real that you can fix. That's the point. So the first fear that stops us from achieving our goals is the fear of failure. We talk about this very often, but failure is your friend. Failure is a dress rehearsal for success. Failure is what prepares you for your growth. Failure is an integral part of the growth process. Frederick Douglass says, where there is no struggle, there's no growth. And so failure is that process that causes you to rise to your highest and better self. Winston Churchill said that success is really about going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. So failure is a way to let you know that you're trying. If you don't try, you don't fail. you success. When people don't go for it, when people don't try, they are successful at failing. Okay? They are successful at staying wherever they are. And so when we overcome failure, we work at that to get it's really an attitude adjustment. Because your attitude determines your altitude. And your altitude is determined by your ability to overcome failure. So every failure you look at, every failure you experience, it's a dress rehearsal for success. Every failure you experience is a lesson in what not to do. The moment you change your attitude toward failure from a stopping attitude to a expansion attitude. So every time you fail, you get excited. You say, I'm one step closer to success. If you imagine yourself in a gold mine and you see that little sliver, that little vein of gold, and you keep knocking and chipping and the vein does not grow, but you keep knocking and chipping. There's some people that will quit. You know, they talk about Sutter's Mill in California. Sutter really never discovered. He eventually sold the mine because he didn't think it was valuable enough. And so faith works with overcoming failure because you have to have faith in your own ability, faith in the process. And so if you're in that gold mine and the vein is very small, faith says keep knocking, keep chipping, keep knocking on that wall. Faith will take you to that point where that vein expands to a wall of gold. The second fear that stops you, this is the big one, folks, is the fear of criticism. And the fear of criticism is so powerful and so profound because we all love to be loved. See, criticism is an external thing that locks you in your present situation. It's an external vibration that undermines your confidence in yourself. Since we like the approval of other people, since we like for people to like us, then we have to know that when we fear criticism, we often interpret criticism as rejection. I've encountered people that I say, I give them some criticism and they get angry. We had a friend and she asked for a particular analysis of something that she was doing. And when Sandra gave her the analysis, the lady never spoke to her again. And this is years ago. So why? Because she interpreted the criticism in the sense that Sandra didn't like her. Sometimes young people often they look at criticism as disrespect. When we hear the young people, oh, he disrespected me, she disrespected me. They look at criticism as disrespect. And it's like you can put a ball around yourself so that when somebody gives you some criticism, constructive or otherwise, that you literally put up a wall to protect yourself from it, and you let that criticism undermine how you feel about yourself, so it goes into a respect area. Some people fear criticism in the absolute. What do I mean? In other words, they don't care whether it's positive criticism or negative criticism or whatever it is. that there's something inside them that is so broken that any type of disagreement with what they say, do, or think is interpreted as criticism. And the key to this is when you find yourself in a situation where when criticism has come to you, when you have that inner core of fear, you ignore it, you deny it, you deflect it, you dispute it. Now this is heavy, folks, because when you experience that type of rejection, it's something that goes to down to your complete core. And that's a sign, and I mean, we all experience that at times, but that's a sign that you really have to do a checkup from the neck up and from the heart down. That there may be some issues that are so deep in your past, so deep in your being, so deep in your essence, that you will never get the results that you're seeking until you handle that. It's almost like having a wound that's open. Until you fix that wound, you're going to be sick. The final piece about criticism is a type of communication. So it's a vibration between two people. And so when you get criticism that is, and I'll use this in a very general term, at a lower level of vibration. In other words, a person who has a lower, more basic level of consciousness than you do, that may have a lower level of understanding than you do, a lower level of knowledge, a lower whatever, that criticism coming from that lower level can sometimes be sparked, have an inner core of jealousy. And you may not know what it is, but you can feel it. When you look at criticism from people coming from a higher level, who know more, who've been where you want to go, if you listen to criticism from somebody who's been where you want to go, that can help. One of the guidelines I often think about with criticism is that the person who's giving you the criticism, would you exchange places with them? So if you're taking investment advice from a guy who's broken living in your basement, that's not a wise thing. But if you're taking criticism from somebody who has the position that you want to get, who's accomplished the things that you want to accomplish, you need to pay attention. And the interesting thing is often how they put it. It's something about having a different level of consciousness. And so they may put it like, what you're doing is really great, Herb. And maybe give a thought to making a left turn a little further down the road. Okay? So they validated my efforts, and they've given me a suggestion. So when you see criticism come in that form, where they put out a positive and then give some instruction, pay attention. Sometimes we get criticism from the old folks. Okay? I call it hereditary. A lot of times the parents and your grandparents can give you some wisdom, and they'll say it in such a simple form that you may miss it. But there is a generational body of knowledge that come from people who may not have the education, may not have the emotional, the spiritual development, but they have an understanding of a truth. And so when these older people give you that truth, you hear it, and you sometimes you may want to reject it, and sometimes I'm always fearful when the young people say, "Oh, you're old, you don't know, it ain't like that now." The game of life is the game of life. It's always the same game. It's how we perceive it and how we respond to it. So when you got those grandparents who give you those words of wisdom, don't worry about they didn't have a day of schooling, because they have generational wisdom. So let's look now at that third fear, the fear of change. And I often think I've told the story many times about the dog sitting on the porch whimpering. And he's whimpering, and a stranger walks by and he says, "What's wrong? Why is the dog whining like that?" And the fellow said, "Because he's sitting on a nail." He said, "Well, why doesn't he just get off the nail?" And the guy tells him, he said, "Because the nail doesn't hurt badly enough." And so when we have this fear of change, sometimes whatever our present state is does not hurt badly enough that we make a change. So this whole virus experience has pointed out some shortcomings maybe to our financial planning. Maybe now that the money's not coming in, it becomes very, very obvious that you don't have a budget. Maybe now that the job is cut off and you're wondering whether they're really going to call you back, maybe now's the time to say, you know what, how much value do I add to that company? Why should they call me back? Okay. So this idea of the fear of change is very critical now, because the future going forward, there's a lot of external uncertainty. The president doesn't know, the people don't know. I mean, people are trying to figure it out, but there's a lot of external uncertainty. And so this fear of change can literally stop you from making a move. But one of the keys about the fear of change is that we have to be driven by what we see for ourselves. In other words, be not conformed to this world. We can't stay stuck in whatever the external reality is, even if that reality is our own complacency. See, we can get in our comfort zone, get stuck in our comfort zone, and we don't do anything. So being stuck in your comfort zone is really not a whole lot different from being stuck in your house as a result of the virus. And so this fear of change has to come from an internal desire to make your life the way you want it to be. It goes back to the goals again. So if your goal is not something you love, that you're good at, that you'll do for free, that helps other people, that you want your life to stand for, it's hard to get that internal vibration to help you overcome the fear of change. The fourth fear is the fear of looking bad. You know, as a speaker, I've seen people get on stage and freeze. And after that time, they never get on a stage again. See, this idea of looking bad is an external relationship. It's looking bad in the sight of other people. And so, if what's stopping you is the fact that you say, well, I don't want to look like a fool. If you listen to a lot of, and I love looking at, the paternity court, okay? And one of the things you often hear is people say, well, I cheated because they cheated. Why'd you cheat? What they mean? Because I didn't want to look like a fool. That my spouse was running around with somebody else, and I didn't want to look like a fool, so I went out and did the same thing. So this idea of being afraid of looking bad can be neutralized by realizing that anything you do is great. That your own vibration, your own desires, the things that you want to be doing and have, as long as you're working on them, it's great. And that nobody external can really impact your own ability to change, your own ability to grow, your own ability to achieve the things you desire. And so, folks, what is stopping you? Let's review. Lack of clearly defined goals. And you overcome that by determining what you enjoy, what you're good at, what you would do for free, what helps others, and what you want your life to stand for. When you can use that as your guiding light to get your goals and determine your goals, you'll change your life and change the world. What's stopping you is the lack of planning. As you determine with clarity your goals, the plan begins to reveal itself. You know, there's a scripture that says, write the vision and make it plain, that he may run that readeth it. That's the plan. In other words, when you have the proper vision, the plan begins to reveal itself, and all you have to do is literally write it down. And then finally, the thing that's stopping you is lack of action. If it's procrastination, commit to do it now. If it's fear of failure, change your mindset so failure is a dress rehearsal to success. That the more you fail, the closer you get. If it's the fear of criticism, to recognize that what anybody says or does has no impact on you. That the only thing that's guiding you is your desire, your passion to be, do, and have that you want. To overcome that fear of change. Knowing that the best is truly yet to come. That there's always good things waiting for you. As they say, to live life and to live life more abundantly. That's the promise. All you got to do is do it. And you overcome that fear of looking bad by saying, hey, internally, my faith in myself and my faith in my ability is so strong that it doesn't matter what anybody outside says, thinks, or feels. Then when we can do these things, my friends, then nothing will stop you. That you'll be as impenetrable as a rock of granite. That when you come to a wall, you'll jump over it. When you come to an obstacle, you'll dissolve it. When you come to a challenge, you'll rise above it. Always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is. This is Dr. Herbert Harris. Please share this message with your friends, and I'd love to have some comments on our Facebook page to write how you have overcome the things that have been stopping you in your life. Share them with the world. Your experience may be a blessing to so many others. Be sure to get our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success, and on Amazon or on www.12uls.com. This is Dr. Harris saying, see you, same time, same station, next Saturday morning at 8 a.m. for the Success Mentorship class.